Hello and very welcome. This is Alexander Wechsler presenting the Wechsler Consulting December 2020 Cloud News. I hope you're doing well at the end of the year. We've put together the latest news on Azure as well as related technologies which have surfaced during the last month. So let's see what we found be interesting in the latest releases, and we're going to do this in our special Azure Talk section. Our focus topic this month will be Azure Digital Twins, a very interesting platform service providing special features in the IoT area. So let's start with the Azure Talk section and get to the interesting details. Our first topic is Azure IOT Central, and there have been quite a lot of updates which have now reached global availability. For example, the support for IoT plug and play, which is an enabler for this solution, which gives you a serverless, low-code approach into Azure IoT. A very good development is also that there's a new standard tariff 0, ST0, which comes at a very interesting price rate of $1 per year and device. And this rate is valid for devices which are not steadily sending telemetry, but for example, every few hours, once or twice a day, a status message or event messages as appropriate. So very interesting for several scenarios, for example, logistics applications, building automation, and so on. There's also a new feature called Jobs API, which enables you to send jobs down to devices, which enables bulk device management. The one thing I would have to criticize here is that it's an API, and Azure IOT Central is a low-code serverless platform. It does not really yet match to the promise of IOT Central to have a low-code platform everywhere, but I think it's a development. So now we're getting the infrastructure with the help of the API to run these jobs for device management or any other use case you can think of, controlled by IOT Central. And in the future, as I do hope, there might be some better graphical UI support for these device management capabilities as well. Another area where there's constant improvement is Azure Private Networking. And in December, we got more services which now allow endpoints in virtual private networks in Azure. One is Azure Automation, which is essential if you want to automate the operation of your solution in these private networks. So that's very good that you don't have to reach out across the internet in this case. There's also an IoTHub Event Hub compatible private endpoint, which may not be the most interesting endpoint for devices, but it may be very interesting, for example, to enrich your device stream information with information from other systems. By having these private endpoints available, your solution can be set up much more isolated and therefore is much more secure. Another interesting development looking at hybrid systems is the ability to run an event hub now on Azure Stack. Azure Stack is the on-premise runtime of Azure, so you can have several of the Azure services, not all of them, but quite a few dedicated ones, which can run in the Azure Stack runtime on a local system. And event hubs can be used on the one hand to create your high availability in your solution by having this reliable message queuing system available on-premise. And it also can be the bridge for any event originating in your solution into the cloud. And especially if you're not able to rely on the network connection, this can be an absolute great and very valuable asset to your solution. Our focus topic this month are Azure Digital Twins. So what are Azure Digital Twins? Well, think of it as a software copy of real devices. And when you're already familiar with the digital twin concept, you may have implemented, for example, on Service Fabric, digital twins using the actor pattern, which is provided in this context. The benefits of such an implementation always are that if your model gets regularly updated, you have a live resemblance of your solution. And this opens up a lot of possibilities. For example, you're able to query and manage the model as a proxy for the real solution. And that's extremely beneficial if your devices are not always connected and cannot be reached all the time. But there are a lot more scenarios where digital twins can be used. For example, if you want to test new features on the model with real data without affecting your solution, you just can copy the state and historical data, for example, and test a new feature in a new test environment, but coming very close to reality. This opens up a lot of possibilities. For example, you're able to simulate scenarios, and in combination with historical data, you're able to detect trends, and you're also able to apply machine learning algorithms to get deeper insights into your solution. Azure Digital Twins also support IoT plug and play, which saves a lot of time. In this case, a lot of infrastructure is provided by IoT plug and play, and therefore you can turn to the really important use cases of your solution. There's a very good integration of Azure Digital Twins into Azure IoTHub, as well as other Azure IoT services, which in combination with the tool support provided by Digital Twins Explorer can save you a lot of implementation time looking at your custom solution. And although there are a lot of benefits coming with Azure Twins, they also do come with some challenges, of course, which you should be aware of. The first thing is you have to remember that even using digital twins, you need to create a sound solution architecture, and digital twins can be a part of such a comprehensive enterprise solution, but they're not able to cover all aspects of such a system. There might be some additional modeling effort required, especially if you use custom devices which are not IoT plug-and-play enabled. If you would implement the device integration on your own, the efforts would be much higher. Azure Digital Twins are scalable, but to a certain extent, the scalability of any twin system can get problematic if you are in a high load ingress scenario, and it gets worse if you have a high querying load at the same time. Therefore, digital twins are a very good solution for low to medium ingress use cases. And looking at high load ingress scenarios, you're still able to use digital twins if you're able to partition your workload into medium to low ingress partitions, or if you're using a different approach by providing a hot transaction layer right before the digital twins to still guarantee the responsiveness and effectiveness of the twin system. Also, one thing to be aware of is that Azure Digital Twins are high available, but one of the current drawbacks is that the failovers cannot be tested by yourself because they are only initiated by Microsoft if it's necessary. And also I trust Microsoft to do this in a very good and orderly fashion. As an architect, I always prefer to do at least a failover test to see how my system behaves and how it copes with that special situation to avoid any downtimes or outages if possible. One thing to be aware of, that Azure Digital Twins are not the same as the IoTHub built-in device twins, which have quite some functionality overlap, especially looking at device modeling, as well as the ability, for example, to run jobs. And in this case, one has to decide where he's going to implement which functionality, either on the Azure Digital Twins side or on the built-in device twins side. And that's really dependent on the use cases for your solution. So there's no global best practice which could be applied here. But even with these few challenges, Azure Digital Twins are a very good asset in your IoT solution construction kit. And from the implementations I have seen, they are very popular, for example, in the building automation vertical market, in logistics, as well as fleet management scenarios. What else happened at Wechsler Consulting on our cloud campus? Well, I have written a blog post with more details regarding Azure Digital Twins. So if you want to delve into the topic a little bit, the blog post is a good start. And of course, we do have an end of the year post with Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And these best wishes I want to reiterate between the years. All the best to everybody out there. And I do hope we have a great and outstanding new 2021. Looking forward to meet you there. That's it for this month's episode. I hope you find the information useful. And if there are any questions, please leave a message below. Thanks a lot and goodbye from Alexander Wechsler.